So I think recently there's been a reminder when it comes to Onyx. And what is that? Onyx recently posted how there's now over 6 billion XCN being locked up on the Onyx app. Now, nothing I say is financial advice. And actually, they already kind of made a post similar to this that they talked about not that long ago. And I actually even made a video on that. But the fact that they're even kind of reminding people about this again, I think kind of showcases this sort of accomplishment that they might view this as, right? Because this is actually not the most impressive thing, but I think it's actually pretty impressive if I consider, first of all, the current conditions of XCN, the current conditions of the market overall. I think this is actually quite impressive because if we take a look at 6 billion approximately, that's going to be around 12.4% of the total supply of XCN. And that's going to be around 8.7% of the maximum supply of XCN. So it's not the best out there, I guess. It's not like it's groundbreaking or anything like that, but still, having around 12.4% of the total supply, quite essentially as of right now, being locked up in the Onyx app, I think that might showcase something, right? I think it might showcase that some people out there do kind of view Onyx in a more long-term basis. However, people like to tell me again, yeah, people don't really care about this, but I think I'd like to beg to differ because XCN has around 145,000 holders, by the way, right? So at least it might indicate that around 145,000 individuals might care about something like Onyx. Doesn't mean that they all care. Maybe they don't want to exit because things are low as of right now, which I don't want to either. But I'm saying maybe they might care. That's the way you take a look at it, and I do care as well. So XCN, it is around 54 times lower than 25 cents as of right now. But, if let's say there is around 6 billion XCN being locked up in the Onyx app, I think it overall just showcases how at least some people out there are still dedicated when it comes to Onyx. XCN being around 54 times lower than 25 cents, it may not seem like a good thing, but in my opinion, if the only thing that I have to do right now is clearly wait, despite me not knowing how long I have to wait, even though it's not necessarily the best feeling out there, but I feel like it's much easier than me discovering Onyx, dollar cost averaging once a month. I feel like that's the more difficult part. I feel like just waiting is a lot easier than that. Now, I feel like me as an individual, I like to be able to know how long preferably I have to wait, but at the same time, if I know that there's no time limit, then I'd feel more comfortable waiting in a sense where, let me just explain this, right? If I take a look at this space overall, imagine if someone said, I have to leave by October, then I'm going to be quite anxious, right? Because at that time, I don't know how the space is going to do. Who knows if things are going to be up or down, right? Then that creates a little bit more stress for me. However, if let's say there is no timeline, I'd feel a little bit more relaxed, right? Now, granted, I'd like it better if I knew the exact timeline, but there's no way I could know that. But I feel like having no time limit as opposed to having to exit at a certain time, I'd rather choose having no time limit because the way you take a look at it is this. Quite essentially, if I really wanted to, I could hold for the next 10, 15, 20 years. That's the thing. Is that kind of extreme? Yeah, I mean, it's quite a long time, but I'm just saying there's no time limit, right? I don't have to exit by a certain date. I don't have to exit by a certain time. No. So it's just me holding. And the way you take a look at it is if I know that all I have to do is hold, then I'll hold because this is something that happens as an accessory to my life. It's like, for instance, if I, let's say, buy a painting like in a wall or something like that, I don't do that type of stuff, but I'm saying imagine if I did. Now, if I hang it up in my wall, right, the painting, it's still going to be there whether I hang out or, when I just do my chores and stuff like that. It's just going to be an accessory to my life. Am I thinking about it 24/7? No. However, at least it's there, right? Also, if I try to grow a tree, right, if I plant a tree, I water it, put fertilizer, sure, it's growing in the background. However, I'm still living my life anyways. That just happens as an accessory to my life. So I kind of don't really view it any different here. I just think about me holding XCN as something that happens in the background. Sure, I know it's there. I check up on it from time to time, of course, and I read up on the news and stuff like that and the updates I try to look for them every day if there is. If there isn't, it's whatever. That's the way I take a look at it. But the way I take a look at it is it's just an accessory to my life. Me reading the news, me looking at what updates are going on, that's just natural. Like I would do that anyways. So it's not like it's requiring extra attention by me holding XCN this whole entire time. It does not actually. It just goes on as a background to what I'm doing already. Onyx is a top 5 project in the global trade and finance space as of right now. Sure, Stellar, Ripple, XDC, and Zebic to a certain extent is more popular than this, but it's still top 5. So if something that I'm holding is still top 5 within its own niche, and it's just an accessory to my life anyways, yeah, I don't mind holding. That's kind of my mindset. So I don't feel like stressed out by holding. That's the way you take a look at it. Is it good seeing a project have a pullback? I would say no. But at the same time, if my intent is to dollar cost average, yeah, I'll gladly dollar cost average at a lower point to bring the average down. That's kind of my mindset. And XCN anyways is like over 5 times lower pretty much than a market cap that it reached basically around a year ago. So if it just went back to where it was around a year ago, again, we're over 5 times lower than that when it comes to XCN. I don't think that was an altcoin season, by the way. So we've already seen somewhat of a baseline when it comes to XCN without an altcoin season, which was we're now over 5 times lower than that. That's the thing. However, we're around 54 times lower than 25 cents, in which case 25 cents there would need to be a hypothetical altcoin season to ever see that, in my opinion. But like a billion market cap, I mean, we just saw that. And keep in mind, at 25 cents, the market cap at that point would be around 9 billion. So my kind of mindset is, yeah, sure, 9 billion market cap, probably a hypothetical altcoin season is needed, but a billion, we just saw that without an altcoin season. So if I just dollar cost average right now and XCN went back to where it was around a year ago, that was around a billion market cap, right? As of right now, we're below 200 million in terms of market cap. But yeah, this is just the mindset that I have as of right now. So when Onyx makes a reminder, again, saying how there's over 6 billion XCN being locked up on the Onyx app, I do find it to be something pretty interesting. And again, I thought it was a pretty cool reminder. At least they're updating. That's the way you take a look at it. And keep in mind, they're still working towards the launch of the mainnet of Goliath, their layer 1 blockchain. So yeah, I feel like Onyx is still doing something. I just don't want to leave. I don't want to give up, but that's just kind of my perspective as of right now when it comes to Onyx. I just don't want to give up, basically. That's kind of my point of view. However, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very nice day, and I'll be making more updated videos when it comes to Onyx. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that, and hopefully I'll see y'all on the next video. Again, thank you for watching. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.